Hello everyone. Today we'll be studying soils for ICSE class 10. This class is conducted to give you an idea of how to study soils. It's an important chapter when you consider it from ICSE perspective, and a large number of questions are asked from this chapter which are quite easy to solve in my opinion, but they can be tricky if you don't know what to study for. So we'll try to explore a few concepts in this chapter. So in today's video, I'll be covering the following topics. I'm thinking of covering 5 topics in this case. First, I'll be starting with a little bit of introduction on what is soil and how to understand how to qualify or classify soils. After that, we are going to look at the different types of soils, and I will be teaching you alluvial soil in detail. Now, when I teach you alluvial soil, it's going to be a prototype on how to study the other soils as well. And that will give you an idea of how to approach the objective based questions or any long questions based on any particular type of soil. And lastly, we'll be ending this class with a summary of whatever we have learned. Apart from that, we'll also be looking at certain previous year questions, so as to understand which questions are the type of questions that are generally asked in your exams. That will be more evident once you realize or read the previous year questions. Now, here you have the syllabus. This is the syllabus according to the ICC board. यही syllabus में है. This is the only thing that you have in the syllabus. Okay. Now, if you look into your textbook, there is a lot of extra stuff. Lot of extra stuff. In fact, you would be able to see certain things like social forestry, farm forestry, agroforestry, बोलकर है. Okay. Even in soil conservation, वगैरह, there is a lot of stuff which is given. But is it necessary or is it really useful when you consider the from ICSE perspective? Depends. It depends because you don't know how questions have been asked in previous years. इसलिए हमें क्या करना पड़ता है? We have to look at previous year questions in order to understand what we have to study. Okay. Now this syllabus is a rough idea of what is expected in your exam. But a large number of things are asked which are beyond the syllabus. So you have to do a little bit beyond the syllabus and to understand the proper contours of what is to be studied, we are going to understand it in this class. Sure. Okay. Now let us look to soil. Now the thing is, most people are unable to understand what is the meaning of soil. Soil matlab dharti, zameen. Nahi, it's not the same thing. Soil is basically the most topmost layer of the earth's surface. The most topmost layer of the earth's surface is called as soil. Okay. Now soil's depth matlab kitna niche ja raha hai, that's not too much. It's not too much. It is actually very thin. Okay. Compared to the entire depth of the earth itself, it's very thin and it has certain components in it. What are the components? It is seen on the screen over here. यहाँ मैंने screen पर दिखाया है. What are the components? So you will be able to see something called as silica. Okay. Then you are also able to see you are also able to see something called as sand or clay. Okay. All these are nothing but components of soil. What makes the soil? Silica is some sort of a product. Okay. Silicon का बना हुआ है. Sand is obviously रेत. Clay matlab it's more like a sticky type of soil. Okay. If a soil has more clay, it is able to hold more water. जो भी sticky चीज रहती है, it is able to usually hold more water. Okay. इसे ही moisture retentivity कहते हैं. See, this is how you study geography. You need to know the proper keywords. If you just say holds more water, that's not going to fetch you any marks. But when I say that more clay or more clay content in the soil means more moisture retentivity, then you are going to get your proper keyword mark. Okay. Apart from that, you also have something called as humus. Humus is nothing but decomposed vegetal, plant and animal remains. जो भी animals or plants which have lived on the surface of the earth, they decompose when they mix in the soil. And when they mix in the soil and they decompose, they form something called as humus. That is the entire gist. यही soil बनाते हैं. Okay. Now, there is also something important to understand, that is fertility. What is fertility? Fertility matlab how much the soil is good to support plant life. So the soil needs to be perfectly good. It needs to have the perfect amount of nutrients. It needs to have the perfect amount of pani. Okay. It needs to have depth. Okay. Itnusi soil mein, of course, you can't grow a big tree like a mango tree or a jamun tree. Okay. And it needs to have all the essential nutrients. So I have just listed out these factors. These factors can be really important again. It should have adequate amount of moisture. What is moisture? Pani. Then certain essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Apart from that, it should have sufficient depth. Depth matlab you can't just have a soil which is very thin in there. Itna top soil itna sa chota rahega, so it's not feasible for the plant. Instead, you should have a more thicker soil. Okay, its depth must be little bit greater. So the roots can go inside and it do what? It can take in nutrients from that soil. Is that clear? And this has been asked in a previous year questions as well. I have included it over here. Define soil. Something as simple as that has been asked in your exam. Similarly, define humus. What is it? Decomposed vegetal and animal remains. That's it. Okay. And there are scientists who study this soil. इस soil को study किया जाता है. Okay. And that is called as pedology. Okay. Okay. Now, why do you need to study soil? Let us understand a little bit. It's not much. Dekho, let's say you are a farmer and you have brought a huge piece of land and you don't know what to grow in that land. Okay. So, tum kya karoge? You will send that soil to a soil testing facility and you will make sure कि इस soil में क्या nutrients की कमी है or what I should include, what type of fertilizers I should buy or what types of plants should I grow. And then I can do scientific farming. When you do scientific farming, the output that you get from this farming is very much better. Okay. And that is why you are able to see there is a difference between the farming when it is done scientifically and when it is just done normally. नहीं तो हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में वैसे भी होता ही है. What is usually seen? People get urea, they keep on putting urea as much as possible. डालते जाओ 5 किलो गवर्नमेंट से मिल रहा है, डालते जाओ. Right? But that is not how it's supposed to work. Okay. The problem is that you have to assess the soil. यानी assessment of soil को कहते हैं pedology. Is that clear? So we have understood what soil क्या होता है and soil fertility मतलब how do you know if the plant that soil is able to support good plant life, not just any plant life. ऐसे घास वगैरह आए तो कुछ फायदा नहीं है. You need to support fruits and vegetables, all sorts of useful plants. They need to be supported by the soil, and that is what is meant by soil fertility. Okay. Now, moving on further, we also have classification of soil over here. Now, first and foremost, I hope you like the presentation of these slides because you are able to see that all these diagrams have been drawn by me. Okay, these diagrams are not present in any textbook. They are not present in even on the internet in such a beautiful manner. Okay, I've drawn these specifically for you. Okay, and one look at this slide will immediately help you jot down your memory. Okay, तो एक करके देखते हैं. यहाँ है transported soil. Okay, now what is the meaning of transported soil? Transported का meaning क्या होता है? Transported means when you take one thing from one place to another, right? So what is transported? देखो ऊपर ऐसे झील है, झील as a river, okay? And this river is bringing down soil. Ganga river, Brahmaputra river, Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri, Brahma, and Mahanadi. Okay, whichever river you want. It is bringing down little particles of soil and it brings it down from the mountains to the plain areas. Okay, ये plain areas तक जब लेकर आते हैं, they are being transported from the mountains to the plain areas. So that is called as transported soil. इतना easy है. That's it. And how is it transported? Either पानी तो लेके आएगा या wind, हवा. Okay, so either water or wind is going to make that soil come from a very higher part in the mountains right down where to the plains मतलब जहाँ flat land होता है. Okay, and this is done by water and wind. इसे कहते हैं transported soil. Transported soil moved from one place to another. इसमें example, what is the example of transported soil? An excellent example of transported soil, and the only example that you need, that is alluvial soil. This is the only example you have in your textbook. Okay, alluvial soil. That's it. Okay, and it does not have a well-defined soil profile. Dekho, we'll come back to this later. I will explain what is the meaning of soil profile, and then we'll come back to this. Okay. Then, apart from that, you also have something called as residual. Residual मतलब क्या? ऐसे ही बैठा है. एक पत्थर है, बैठा है ऐसे. ओके, फिर उसके ऊपर हायर टेम्परेचर, लो टेम्परेचर, बारिश वगैरह वगैरह की वजह से इट्स ब्रेकिंग अपार्ट. ओके, इट्स ब्रेकिंग अपार्ट. ऐसे बैठा है, नथिंग इज हैपनिंग, इट्स नॉट मूविंग एनीवेयर. जस्ट हाई टेम्परेचर, लो प्रेशर, ह्यूमिडिटी, रेनफॉल, ये वो वगैरह वगैरह की वजह से दिस रॉक इट इज ब्रेकिंग अपार्ट. It's breaking apart, breaking apart, breaking apart into a million pieces. And when it breaks it apart into a million pieces, then it is going to form what? Very smooth granules. And the smooth granules will at one point, transform themselves into what? Soil. ओके, तो ऐसे ही बैठा है ये सॉइल, इट्स नॉट मूविंग फ्रॉम एनी प्लेस. सो इसे कहते हैं रेजिडुअल. रेजिडुअल उधर ही पड़ा हुआ है. सिडेंटरी, सिडेंटरी लाइफ बोलते हैं, यू नो, सिडेंटरी बैठे हैं, गेम वीडियो गेम खेल रहे हैं, ऐसे बच्चे जो रहते हैं तो सिडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल जी रहे हैं, ऐसे बोलते हैं. तो यहाँ भी द रॉक इज सेटिंग लाइक दैट, एंड दैट इज नथिंग बट सिडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल, और सिडेंटरी जस्ट सिटिंग डाउन, इट्स नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. ओके, तो दिस इज व्हाट, दिस इज रेजिडुअल और सिडेंटरी सॉइल. ओके, तो ये फाउंड इन ओरिजिनल पोजिशन. क्यों? हिल ही नहीं रहा, उधर ही बैठा है. ओके, एंड इट इज डन बाय ब्रेकिंग अप ऑफ पेरेंट रॉक. ओके, इसमें एग्जांपल्स यू हैव ऑल द अदर सॉइल्स. यू हैव द ब्लैक सॉइल, रेड सॉइल, लैटराइट. अलुवियल को छोड़ के सारे सॉइल्स जो है वो रेजिडुअल में आते हैं. सो अपार्ट फ्रॉम अलुवियल, ऑल अदर सॉइल्स आर पार्ट ऑफ व्हाट? They are a part of residual or sedentary soils. Is that clear? That's it. Okay. Now, moving on further, I hope you are able to keep up with the pace of the class. If not, then you can just rewind a little bit. It's not a problem. Okay, you can slow it down. YouTube has amazing features. You can use all of them. Okay. Now, apart from that, let us look into profile. हमारी बात हो चुकी है इसके ऊपर. We'll understand what is profile. Now, profile मतलब क्या? देखो, ऐसे अगर एक सॉइल है, उसको मैंने ग्लास में रख दिया. ओके, वो ग्लास में रख दिया, बहुत बहुत 1-2-3 दिन में थोड़ा पानी वगैरह डाल के ग्लास में रख दिया. what is seen is that the stones जो रहते हैं, they get settled down at the very bottom, then some heavy material gets settled down, then this lighter soil gets settled down. At the top you have certain humus like content, थोड़े से twigs वगैरह बचे हैं, certain small organisms maybe, they are left at the top part. That is called as profile. Profile मतलब क्या? It is basically how the soil is divided into parts. It is divided into parts. Now, which type of soil will be very well defined into part? जो residual है, because it's not moving anywhere ना. So obviously what is seen? It is seen that this type of soil is going to be very well defined into parts. वही ये ऊपर वाला एक सेकंड जाता है. ट्रांसपोर्टेड सॉइल, हमेशा ऊपर से सॉइल आ ही रहा है, आ ही रहा है ऊपर से सॉइल. द सॉइल इज कमिंग डाउन एंड इट इज, ये जो सॉइल पहले से था ऐसे प्रोफाइल में था, उसके ऊपर और एक प्रोफाइल बैठ गई है. नाउ अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट यू हैव अनदर प्रोफाइल. सो प्रोफाइल कीप्स ऑन डेवलपिंग डेवलपिंग, तो कोई अच्छा प्रोफाइल ही नहीं होगा उसके लिए. Okay, so whatever initially there were what? There were heavy stones at the very bottom. Again, it brings more stones from the top. Again, it brings more stones from the top. Apart from that, then it brings humus. Then it brings heavy plant material. Then it brings all sorts of other things. Okay, landslides होते रहते हैं, avalanches होते रहते हैं. Okay, so it doesn't have a very well defined profile of the soil. Okay, it's not like you're going to find the heavy rocks at the bottom and then the softer soil at the top. ऐसे कुछ नहीं. ओके, वेयर इन ट्रांसपोर्टेड. वही अगर एक जो सॉइल है जो ठहरा हुआ है वहां वही बैठा है, इट्स नॉट मूविंग एनीवेयर, दैट इज गोइंग टू हैव अ वेरी वेल डिफाइंड सॉइल प्रोफाइल. ओके, चल मूविंग ऑन. देन देखते हैं नेचर. नेचर मतलब क्या? इज इट एसिडिक, इज इट अल्कलाइन? ये पता नहीं चलता. यू हैव टू टेस्ट द सॉइल. Okay, you know what is acidic and alkaline, you have studied this in chemistry, so I'm not going to describe as basic, you can study it over there. बट नेचर मतलब क्या? उसका स्वभाव कैसा है, हाउ विल इट रिएक्ट. ओके, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, पेरेंट रॉक. पेरेंट रॉक मतलब क्या? व्हाट इज द मेन पेरेंट रॉक? मतलब द रॉक फ्रॉम विच द सॉइल वाज फॉर्म्ड. Okay, like for alluvial it cannot be identified. ऊपर से क्या आ रहा है पता नहीं, कौन सा रॉक है. So it can be one can be a limestone, one can be a sandstone, one can be a metamorphic rock, one can be an igneous rock. कोई भी रॉक होगा, मार्बल होगा, ऊपर डायमंड होगा, क्या पता. Okay, and it is being brought down where? Till the plains. So you can't identify which rock, ये जो soil है ये किसकी, कौन से rock की. It can't be identified because it is constantly moving. But वही black soil, what is seen? It is a residual soil. तो नीचे देखना है कौन सा रॉक है, वही रॉक का सॉइल बना हुआ है. दैट इज व्हाट, दैट व्हाट रेजिडुअल पेरेंट रॉक बेस्ड सॉइल. इज दैट क्लियर? ओके, now if this is clear, then I'm sure you will also understand what is the meaning of texture. Okay, texture means consistency, or texture means feel, whether it is soft, hard. Okay, I've given an excellent example over here as well. If you look into over here, okay, here you are able to see मैंने एक जगह पर चूड़ा रखा है और एक जगह पर रसमलाई. Now look at चूड़ा. it is going to be very rough in texture, coarse texture है. Okay, वही रसमलाई soft smooth. Okay, very soft texture रहता है. Okay, nowadays texture in food is so much important. Okay, especially if you go to these really high class restaurants. Okay, they will always, the people over there, they will be only stressing upon ये texture इसका देख लो कितना sweet silken है. Okay, so of course the texture of the soil in this case खानी नहीं है, but this texture is important. You consider कि कौन से type of plants उसमें हम लोग grow करने वाले हैं. Okay, moving on further, let us understand the types of soil. Look over here. यही करने हैं. Okay, यही soils करने हैं. What are the different types of soil that you have? You have, look at the screen over here. First you have alluvial soil, then you have red soil, then you have laterite soil, and then you have nothing. बस इतनी ही है. Alluvial, black, red and laterite. Is that clear? इतनी ही, ये यही चार करने हैं. Okay, I don't know why students get all mixed up. They think कि ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है. नहीं, चार ही soils है. चार soils के तुम learn नहीं कर सकते. Easily learn कर सकते हो. Okay, how will you learn it? I will give you a trick. I'll give you a trick on how to learn the different characteristics of each and every soil. You just have to follow my trick and that's it. Okay. And remember, tempted कि कोई तो ये वाली टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं, कोई और दूसरे टेक्स्ट बुक से हम लोग पढ़ के जाएंगे. Not necessarily, not a part of your syllabus. Study and only whatever I am telling you. Okay. And further, by the written an extra point over here, we'll come back to this later. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see the screen over here? Again, look at the quality of notes that I've made. Isn't it very interesting to read? Okay, I've tried to include. इतना तो अच्छा notes तो मैं कहीं भी नहीं मिलेगा. I'm telling you. I'm honestly speaking from the bottom of my heart. If I had notes like this, I would have come first in the entire board. I'm telling you, because this is the type of notes that I'm providing you right now. Okay, look at the screen over here. I've written formation in one part. Formation मतलब क्या? Soil कैसे form हो रही है? I've already taught you alluvial soil. वो ऊपर से sediments लेकर आ रहे हैं, river या wind वगैरह. Okay, so if it is brought down by river, तो वो हो गया riverine soil. It is called as what? Riverine soil. What is loam? Loam मतलब अगर sand, clay and silt का mixture होगा तो loam. Again, small things which I don't need to explain, but you have to remember. And how will you will be able to remember? Only when it is very nicely presented. Presentation matters. Okay. No matter how far you are, whichever exam you are giving, at the end a little bit of presentation matters. If the data is presented really properly, it is going to impress the readers, it is going to impress the person who is checking your papers as well. Okay, let us move on further. देखो, alluvial soil. What is alluvial soil? The most abundant soil in the entire of India. पूरे इंडिया में सबसे बेस्ट सॉइल जो है वो alluvial soil है, and alluvial soil ही abundant है. Okay, now I have also categorized. Now देखो, ये तो चार categories of soil हो ही गए. Which are the four categories? The alluvial soil, the black soil, the red soil and the laterite soil. This is your basic categorization. But even in this alluvial soil, you have further categorization. What are the further categorization? एक है भानगर soil और एक है खादर soil. Okay, ये categorization further है inside alluvial soil. तो difference क्या है दोनों में? Let's look into it. Now look, I'm going to show you with a small example over here. Okay, this is the mountain. Are you able to see the mountain? अभी देखो, यहाँ ऊपर की जगह पर, यहाँ जो है ना, इधर not too much, यहाँ जो soil है ना, like wait a second, let's not go over there. We'll try to change it a little bit. थोड़ा सा दूसरी तरीके में दिखाते हैं तुम्हें. Wait a minute. See, this is a mountain. This is the mountain. Okay. Now let's say, and यहाँ mountain में इधर river है. Let me show you a river as well. Let's color code this. I'm a fan of color coding. Okay. So ये river है. Are you able to see the river? It's not going to look pretty, but at least you are able to understand. It's the main gist of it. Okay. Now, apart from that, now ये जो river है, now इस river के along मतलब just to the river. just next to the river. What type of soil are you going to expect? You're going to expect a soil over here which is very fertile. Why? Because the river will keep on flooding. Flooding मतलब क्या? पानी लेकर आएगा soil के contents. Okay, it will bring small particles of soil. It is going to get newer and newer every year. पता है हिमाचल में या यूपी बिहार it keeps on flooding. It keeps on flooding. यूपी में इतना फिर भी नहीं, बिहार में. बिहार it keeps on flooding every single year almost. Okay, कोसी river है उधर बहुत famous है. You will study this when I'll teach you mapping. Mapping में it is there. Okay, or you have Himachal. Look at Himachal currently. Okay, recently 6 months ago there was a flood. So what is usually seen over here, that the river will bring down all these sediments and it will overflow from the banks of the river and deposit new fresh layers of soil on the banks of these river. Okay, तो ये जो fresh है वो काफी fertile भी होगा और हर साल renew होते जा रहा है. Renew मतलब क्या? नया नया soil है. So it's going to be extra fertile, extremely good for plants. वही अगर थोड़ा सा दूर जाओ, go a little bit farther away from the river, of course you're going to get a soil which is not going to be generally renewed, right? It's going to be renewed maybe 3 to 4 once in 3-4 years. Okay, so that type of soil is called as the bhangar soil. और ये भानगर में सबसे बड़ा दुख प्रॉब्लम जो है ये वो है कंकर. कंकर मतलब क्या? कैल्शियम के से नोड्यूल्स मिलते हैं, जैसे छोटे छोटे पत्थर कैल्शियम के, जिसे कंकड़ कहते हैं हिंदी में, या कंकर्स इन इंग्लिश. ओके, तो ये कंकर्स जो है ये लाइम के नोड्यूल्स है. दे आर नॉट फर्टाइल, दे डू नॉट हेल्प इन द फर्टिलिटी ऑफ द सॉइल. Okay, and that is why alluvial soil becomes what? It becomes slightly problematic when you are going farther away from the river. Next to the river, एकदम best quality soil next to the river. That is why many of the important cities, कानपुर, इलाहाबाद, ये सारे जो बड़े बड़े, ये even Delhi, okay, ये सारे कहाँ है? Next to the rivers है. Most of the important, have a look at most of the important cities that you have in northern India, they are next to the rivers. Why are they next to the rivers? Rivers provide excellent soil and that soil is useful for agriculture. Agriculture therefore helps in what? Food. Food तो लगता ही है सबको. बनारस देखो. Okay, then you have what else? Delhi, you have I don't remember abhi. Srinagar. Okay, all these are nothing but what? These are nothing but your what? Your coast, no, riverine cities. Okay. Now distribution. Okay, distribution मतलब कहाँ मिलता है? ओके कहाँ कहाँ ये alluvial soil मिलता है, उसके लिए मस्त इमेज बना के रख दिया मैंने. लुक ओवर इनलैंड. इनलैंड मतलब यहाँ दिख रहा है. आर यू एबल टू सी द मल्टीपल रिवर्स दैट आर फ्लोइंग ओवर हियर? ना यहाँ जो मैंने ब्लैक में मार्क किया है, वट एवर आई मार्क्ड इन ब्लैक ओवर हियर, दैट इज इनलैंड, लैंड के अंदर. डेल्टाइक मतलब क्या? when the river meets the oceans, like here the river Ganga meets the ocean. यहाँ जो river Ganga when it meets the ocean, this region, wait, let me show it to you with a yellow highlighter. Yes, okay, this region over here. Okay, are you able to see it? I think it is visible. Okay, तो ये जो part of the soil है ये क्या है? This is where the rivers meet the ocean. So best quality fertile soil, इसे डेल्टाइक कहता है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये डेल्टा बनाता है. डेल्टा मतलब क्या? The river when it comes and meets the ocean ना, it divides into multiple small little rivers, जिसे distributaries कहते हैं. एंड इसके वजह से ये पूरा जो रीजन है ना, दैट बिकम्स एक्सट्रीमली फर्टाइल एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डेल्टाइक अलुवियम. एंड कोस्टल, कोस्ट के अलोंग जो रहता है वो कोस्टल. सो ऑल अक्रॉस ये ब्लू वाला जो पूरा हाईलाइटेड पार्ट दिख रहा है, दैट इज नथिंग बट योर कोस्टल अलुवियम. ओके, नाउ again, now remember ICSE is not going to ask you typical answers, it's going to ask you something which is out of the blue or extraordinary. Okay, तो यहाँ देखो मैंने क्वेश्चन यहाँ डाल दिया है. ईस्टर्न कोस्टल प्लेन है ना, ईस्ट, ईस्ट मतलब पता नहीं, ये वाली ईस्ट साइड होती है, ये ईस्ट साइड है और ये वेस्ट साइड है, वेस्ट. ओके, ईस्टर्न कोस्टल प्लेन जो ये ब्लू वाला जो इधर वाला पार्ट है ना, वो काफी ज्यादा बड़ा है देन दिस ब्लू वाला. व्हाई इज दैट? दिस इज द क्वेश्चन. ओके, एंड यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू आंसर दिस until you do your mapping. So you are able to imagine कितना इंटरकनेक्टेड है ये सब कुछ. Everything is very well interconnected. You have to understand geography, जैसे कि you are taking it through an IV. ओके, इतना एकदम प्रॉपरली अच्छे से खून में जाना चाहिए जो भी सब कुछ पता तुम्हें, मैं तुमसे तुम्हारे साथ बात कर रही हूँ. ओके, चल मूविंग ऑन फर्दर. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या है? लाइट ग्रे, डार्क ग्रे कलर. ओके, कहीं यहाँ लाल वाल मत डाल देना. ओके, इट्स नॉट येलो, इट्स नॉट पिंक, इट्स नॉट ब्लू, इट्स जस्ट डार्क ग्रे और लाइट ग्रे. ओके, टेक्सचर कैसा है, देखो खादर सॉइल जो न्यू न्यू रिन्यू होती जा रही है, इट्स सॉफ्ट, इट्स कॉम्पैक्ट, इट्स सॉफ्ट, इट्स मॉइस्ट, इट्स ऑर्गेनिक। ओके, बहुत ज्यादा क्ले है उसमें, पानी भी है उसमें। ओके, वही अगर तुम रिवर से दूर जाओगे तो उधर रफर सॉइल, कोर्स सॉइल। ओके, माउंटेन जोन में जा रहे हो तुम, ऑफ कोर्स कोर्स वगैरह पत्थर वगैरह होंगे उधर। तो इट्स टेक्सचर डिपेंड्स, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट द टेक्सचर इज गोइंग टू बी द सेम एवरीवेयर, it's going to change a little bit depending upon which region you are in. Okay, now again look over here. I've written what is alluvial soil rich in. Rich मतलब क्या, क्या उसके पास ज्यादा है। How do you remember this? Impal, impal, IMPAL. What is I? Iron. M magnesia. P potash. A alumina. L lime. ओके, देखो मत, सिर्फ लिखो, राइट इट डाउन। मेक श्योर यू हैव अ पीस ऑफ पेज और समथिंग नेक्स्ट टू यू, राइट इट डाउन। 3-4 बार ऐसे लिखना चाहिए उसे। ओके, एंड लिखते समय बोलना है। ओके, IMPAL, व्हाट इज इम्पाल? नहीं तो उधर जाके पता चलेगा नहीं इम्पाल ही है, नहीं, वैसे नहीं। ओके, यू हैव टू रिमेंबर व्हाट इज I स्टैंड्स फॉर आयरन, M स्टैंड्स फॉर मैग्नीशिया, P स्टैंड्स फॉर पोटैश, A स्टैंड्स फॉर अलुमिना, L स्टैंड्स फॉर लाइम। ऐसे 4 बार बोलो। ओके, इधर ही रटवाना है, रिमेंबर दैट। I स्टैंड्स फॉर आयरन, M स्टैंड्स फॉर मैग्नीशिया, मैग्नीशियम नहीं मैग्नीशिया। P स्टैंड्स फॉर पोटेशियम नहीं, पोटाश। A स्टैंड्स फॉर अल्यूमिनियम नहीं, अलुमिना। एंड L स्टैंड्स फॉर लाइम, लेमन नहीं। Okay, so this is rich in impal. And what is in poor in? Poor is NOP. Nope. Okay, don't add the E at the end. Nope. Nitrogen, organic matter, not oxygen. I have seen multiple students write oxygen over there for some reason. नहीं, oxygen नहीं है, वो organic matter है. And P is phosphorus. So rich in impal and poor in NOP. Is that clear? 3-4 बार लिखना है इसे, पॉज करना है वीडियो, लिखना है। ओके, एंड देन रीस्टार्ट द वीडियो अगेन। ठीक है, चलो, आई एम होपिंग यू हैव डन दिस। ना अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, गंगा डेल्टा। गंगा डेल्टा क्या है ना? गंगा डेल्टा मतलब यही रीजन, मैं थोड़ा मैप पर दिखाती हूँ तुम लोगों को। हाँ देखो, आर यू एबल टू सी दिस? ये गंगा है। स्क्रीन के ऊपर नजर रखो, लुक एट द स्क्रीन ओनली, लुक एट व्हाट आई एम ड्राइंग एंड दिस रीजन दैट आई एम शेडिंग ओवर हियर, ये गंगा डेल्टा है, जहां गंगा मिलती है ओशन से। Whenever rivers join an ocean, a delta is formed. Not when every time, but most of the time a delta is formed. ओके, और ये जो डेल्टा है, उधर क्या है, उधर वाला जो सॉइल है वो काफी फर्टाइल है। इतना फर्टाइल है, इतना फर्टाइल है कि एकदम रिच इन ह्यूमस। ह्यूमस मतलब क्या? एनिमल एंड प्लांट मैटर में। वही ड्रायर रीजन से, बहुत ड्राई ड्राई रीजन से, कहीं कहीं बिहार वगैरह में तो अल्कलाइन है। बट द ग्रेट पार्ट अबाउट दिस सॉइल इज इजीली टिलेबल, मतलब उस पर हल चलाया बहुत इजीली जा सकता है। बराबर है ना? पूरी पूरा वो, they take that oxen and bulls and they move the entire, they loosen the entire soil up. That is called as tilling of the soil, and that is done very easily because it's a very fertile, very soft soil. Okay, and कौन से crops, now which crops are grown? एकदम easy है, remember starting तो याद रखना है wheat से। wheat wheat ग्रो किया, फिर शुगर केन ग्रो किया, फिर माने ही नहीं कॉटन भी ग्रो किया इन लोग। कॉटन भी इधर ग्रो किया। कॉटन तो ब्लैक सॉइल में होता है, इधर करा है वो। देन दे सेड नहीं, कॉटन से इट वाजंट इनफ मनी, सो दे स्टार्टेड एडिंग टोबैको ओवर हियर। ओके, टोबैको। आफ्टर दैट ग्राम सीड्स, क्योंकि दाल भी होनी चाहिए, सिर्फ रोटी बना के तो नहीं चलेगा, यू नीड टू हैव दाल एज वेल, सो ग्राम सीड्स। एंड यहाँ जो लोअर गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्र डेल्टा, ये जो मैंने शेड करके इधर दिखाया था, और लाल कर रही है इधर में। ओके, दिस गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्र डेल्टा, जूट, जूट इज यूज फॉर मेकिंग योर बैग्स, यू नो, हेम्प या जूट वगैरह के बैग्स कई गिफ्ट में मिले होंगे तुम लोगों को। ओके, दिस जूट कल्टीवेशन। ओके, या पहले जो वो ग्रीन्स वगैरह स्टोर किए जाते थे पुराने जमाने में, आजकल को तो सब कुछ प्लास्टिक में आता है, बट पुराने जमाने में जो ग्रीन स्टोर करने के लिए जो एक बैग बनती थी, ओके, सुतली की। ओके, दैट इज नथिंग बट व्हाट, इट इज नथिंग बट जूट। ओके, एंड दैट इज excellent, excellent. But why? Because it's biodegradable. It's not like plastic, which is just going to stay here for a million of years. It's biodegradable, and it is found where? It is found in this Ganga Brahmaputra delta. Very well known for it. Okay. So कैसे याद रखना है? पहले रोटी, रोटी के लिए you need wheat. wheat के साथ अभी रोटी बनाई तो दाल भी लगेगी. So obviously you need to have gram. Okay. फिर उन्होंने बोला थोड़ा शक्कर, तो sugar cane. Then you need to have cotton, कुछ कपड़े पहनने हैं तो cotton. Then पैसा, पैसा के लिए टबैको। ओके, बुरी आदत है। Is that clear? So in that way you can remember the crops grown as well. So wheat है, रोटी, रोटी के साथ दाल, फिर थोड़ी शक्कर, कपड़े and tobacco. Okay, these are the crops that are grown. Is that clear? इसके अलावा गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्र डेल्टा, इन गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्र डेल्टा यू हैव जूट कल्टीवेशन, जिससे वो बैग्स बनाते थे, गनी बैग्स. ओके, इज दैट क्लियर? If this is completely clear for you all, then let us move on further. देखो ये मैप है, लेफ्ट साइड पर है हचिंग्स ने दिया हुआ मैप. ओके, द स्कूल दैट वी गो टू, आर अल्मा माटर. ओके, नाउ दिस मैप, इसमें कुछ नहीं समझ में आता. आई एम टेलिंग यू ऑनेस्टली, आई कैन मेक सेंस ऑफ इट. ओके, ऑनेस्टली bad map. Okay, this is not useful, but of course we have to use this map when we are doing mapping. अभी के लिए दुख दर्द लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. Look at the map which is given on the other side. Okay, this side you are able to see very nicely. I have shown it in pink color. पिंक कलर का हाईलाइट है, देखो ये जो पूरा हाईलाइटेड एरिया है वो क्या है, अलुवियल सॉइल का रीजन है. देखो रिवर के अलॉन्ग है, इधर भी रिवर जहां एंड होती है ना उधर है. Okay, now you might be wondering why not along the river. है, river के along भी है, but it's just that it's very narrow over here. It's narrow over here. Okay, it's narrow over here. वही इधर जो है वो narrow नहीं है, इधर काफी wide है. Okay, because या गंगा and यमुना के along there are many other rivers. बहुत सारे rivers हैं. Again, something that you'll be studying in mapping again. So more the rivers, more there is going to be a riverine alluvial soil. अभी के लिए सिर्फ डायग्राम को 2-3 बार से अच्छे से देखो, मन की आंखों से देखो. Okay, and everything will be clear. Is that clear? चल ना, इसका पहले एक मतलब स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो. टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ दिस इमीडिएटली. ओके, ये जो है ना, ये तुम्हारे लिए रिवीजन वर्कशीट है. व्हाट इज इट? रिवीजन वर्कशीट. व्हाट डज दैट मीन? देखो मैंने सॉइल के सारे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स लिखने, हमने पढ़ा है अभी. नाउ वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्टडीड दिस. व्हाट आर यू गोइंग टू डू? You are going to write the same points like this, the way I have shown on a piece of page. Formation में क्या याद आ रहा है? क्या याद आ रहा है? Transported soil है, brought down by rivers. Write it down. Rich in impal, IMPL, iron, M magnesium, P potash, A alumina, L lime. Poor in NOP, NOP, nitrogen, organic matter, phosphorus. Crops gone, crops gone के लिए wheat, रोटी, रोटी के साथ दाल चाहिए, फिर शक्कर, cotton, tobacco. Okay, then area and location, you know area and location as well. मैप में देख लो, you don't have to study it. How do you remember? देखो नॉर्दर्न इंडिया में ऊपर की तरफ नॉर्दर्न इंडिया में है. Then along eastern coastal plain where the river meets what? Where the river meets the ocean. Okay, so deltaic region of southern India. And extra features. Now extra features is important. Extra features मतलब क्या? वही मैंने जो तुम लोगों को बताया, भादर खादर भानगर soil. Okay, or deltaic coastal and alluvium. This is nothing but extra features. Apart from that, one more point that I forgot to tell you. Actually, I didn't forget. I was just going to circle back to it later, and that is this point. Okay, again, this point is not given in your textbook. I have added it because it has been asked in exams, and that is कभी कभी alluvial soil में कंस्ट्रक्शन करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है, क्योंकि सॉइल इतनी लाइट एंड सॉफ्ट है ना कि फाउंडेशन ठीक से नहीं बनता. It's not easy to make a foundation when the soil is so light and soft, and therefore you need a little bit more stiff soil chain. You need a foundation. It should be strong. And if you have a very soft soil, how are you going to construct a very tall there? It's going to be difficult. Okay, that's it. Can be asked and give reason. They might ask you, why is it difficult to construct tall, high-rise buildings in alluvium soil? That's the same thing. That's what you have to write. So this is going to be what? This is going to be a revision worksheet. ये sheet सामने आनी चाहिए हमेशा. यही sheet में सिर्फ fill in the blank करते जाना है. And when you go for your exam, you're going to look at this sheet and be like, हाँ alluvium के लिए impal knock हो गया, सब कुछ done. I'm done for the exam, ready to ace my exam. Okay. So this is how you're going to study. Study करने का भी तरीका होता है. Just don't read and go. Okay, you have to study systematically. Okay. Apart from that, certain previous year questions. Now look in this over here. यहाँ तुम देख पा रहे हो. Give one difference between alluvial soil of Uttarakhand and West Bengal. अरे बहुत आसान है, थोड़ा देख लो इधर. Okay. Look, Uttarakhand यहाँ है ऊपर. Are you able to see? This is where Uttarakhand is. Wait a second, I'll show you with a different color. काला. Okay. This is Uttarakhand. Are you able to see? उत्तराखंड ऊपर है तो वो इनलैंड है, इनलैंड अलुवियम. एंड यहाँ है वेस्ट बंगाल, यहाँ कहीं तो वेस्ट बंगाल है. सो व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज डेल्टाइक अलुवियम. इट्स व्हाट? डेल्टाइक. दैट्स इट. 1 पॉइंट ऑफ डिफरेंस चाहिए था उन लोगों को, मिल गया. खत्म. 2024 में पेपर में पूछा था. Then in specimen paper, they asked you to show alluvial soil on the map. Something that is actually part of mapping, to be honest. But remember, now it's not difficult for you to understand, to even visualize कि कहाँ alluvial soil मिलने वाला है. You know, northern Indian plains में मुझे कहीं तो मिल जाएगा वो. तो तुम्हें सिर्फ उधर उतना भी याद रहेगा तो भी, you know, it reduces the burden on your head. Okay. Apart from that, transported and वही हुआ soil transport होने वाला soil, वही वही that has been asked where in 2024. Okay. Feel and consistency of the soil. देखो feel and consistency मैंने तुम्हें पहले ही कहा था, हमने सीखा था. टेक्सचर कहते हैं, चूड़ा वाला एग्जांपल याद रखो, रसमलाई वाला एग्जांपल याद रखो. चूड़ा was rough. Okay. Rasmalai was soft. Texture. The texture mattered over here. And alluvial soil is the most fertile soil. Of course, it is the most fertile soil. Why? Easily tillable. Great in impal. Okay. Don't write about poor things. Don't write poor in knob. अरे उन्होंने अच्छी things पूछे. They have asked you what? They have asked you about the most. Why is it most fertile? Do not give disadvantages. If you want to hype a person up, you have to only state its advantages, not the disadvantages. Is that clear? And finally, this is the entire things that we have studied in today's class. Soil, थोड़े keywords हमने देखे. Which are the keywords? Do you remember? Profile, texture, okay. और क्या है? I think so. We also looked at what loam as well. Okay. All these are different keywords. Then we looked at the types of soil. We studied alluvial soil. हमने locate किया उसको map के ऊपर. Then we discussed few PYQs. And with that, I think our class is coming to an end. I hope you like this session. If you do like this session, please like, comment, and share. Okay. It is very important that your feedback reaches me. Okay. And if you are interested in joining my class, please let me know. Okay. I'm sure it's going to be really fun for you to study. Believe me, most of the time when I'm teaching, it doesn't feel like teaching, it feels like a conversation. Okay. And if you're ready to have a fun-filled conversation, which is a little bit academic in nature, then please do join my class. Okay. So with that, we'll end our class today. I hope you have understood everything. If you're not able to understand a few things, just rewind and it's good. Bye bye.